Today we are heading to Cuyahoga Valley National Park in Ohio. It's about a half an hour away from Cleveland. It's right in the middle of Ohio. We have had this park on the list for a while because there aren't really that many national parks in the Midwest. So the plan today is to do a little hiking with our dog Howie. There aren't that many national parks that are dog friendly, so it's always really fun when we can bring him along for the ride. Our first stop today is going to be Brandywine Falls. There are two observation decks. There's an upper and a lower. We're gonna get over there, kind of check it out, and decide what we're gonna do from there. Like I said, the park is dog friendly. We've seen a lot of dogs already this morning, but sometimes we just have to decide if we want to do things with Howie or not. We decided to head down and get a closer look at the falls. Well, that was Brandywine Falls. It's not a bad little trek. You just walk down wooden stairs down to the bottom. It's definitely a good hike for the whole family. Okay, so we finished up at Brandywine Falls. It is a nice little hike, super well maintained path. You just have to take some stairs back up, but it's really not too bad at all. And now we are going to keep on moving and explore the northern part of the park first, and then we're going to make our way down through the park and see what else we want to see along the way. There's some popular spots that we're going to hit up. Okay, so we're at Brecksville Station. Got some pictures here of the bridges, and now we're just hiking a little bit, taking it in. It's a beautiful day, and we're getting some fall foliage time. It's still pretty green here in Ohio in mid-October, but they're starting to change a little bit. It definitely feels like fall.
This is where you can catch the train, but we're not going to do that.
Oh yeah, so there is a train that can take you through the park and stops off at various points of interest throughout the park, but we're not going to do that today. We'd love to do it sometime, but also since we have Howie with us, dogs are not allowed on the train. So that's okay. He's allowed on the trails. He's making lots of friends, so we're having a really nice day. Cuyahoga Valley seems like a really great park for activities. We've seen a lot of people biking on the different paths, and you can also go kayaking in the Cuyahoga River, which I think would be a lot of fun. You get to see a lot from the water, and it's just really this beautiful park right in the middle of Ohio here. Right now we're walking over to the Boston Mill Visitor Center, and we finally spotted a park sign, so it's picture time. You can also catch the train right here, the Boston Mill Visitor Center.
One of the things I'm really enjoying about Cuyahoga National Park is learning about how it's a restorative national park, and this river used to be really polluted, and turning it into a national park cleaned it up, and they brought back eagles and river otters and beavers, and I think it's a pretty good thing. They've also done a really nice job theming their park buildings, so it kind of gives you an old-timey feel, but not like Wild West, but more kind of industrial, early 1900s, and they've really done a nice job with the park.
Well, we got our family photo in front of the sign, and Howie got to be in it. We have taken pictures with him in front of national park signs before, but this one is extra special because he got to really come along for the ride. One thing about this park is that you're not actually fully immersed in the park. The park really protects the river valley and the areas just mostly surrounding the river. And so as you're driving down the scenic byway, you are, inside the park at some points. And at some points there's houses and towns, there's a ski resort, we just passed a pumpkin patch. So it's interesting because it's a really accessible park. There's a lot of points of entry and there's a lot of ways to enjoy it. There's no campgrounds inside of the park. There are a few inns along the park. I don't know if they're actually part of the park, but it's the closest lodging to the park. There are a few little inns around the park. They're not park lodges, but they're lodging close to the park, if that makes sense. You are close to Cleveland, so there are a lot of places that you're able to stay within driving distance of the park. Our next stop here in Cuyahoga Valley National Park is the Everett Covered Bridge. This looks like a pretty popular spot. Well, actually, most of the park has been pretty busy today. It is a weekend. I'm sure this is a highly visited park for locals just because it is so accessible and easy to get to. And most national parks have been pretty busy lately. It's the boy and his dog walking across a covered bridge. Well, if there's one thing we've learned on our trip through New England is that we love a good covered bridge. And so do all the teenagers in Ohio because everyone is here taking graduation photos. They all have photographers and lighting, and it's just kind of fun to see that this is such a popular spot for photography. And we can see why, because this is a really beautiful spot. There's seriously like 3 photo shoots happening right now. So right now we are heading on the Ledges Trail. This is one of the most popular hiking trails in all of Cuyahoga Valley. And I don't think we're gonna go too far. You never know, sometimes we push it, but we just wanna check it out and get a good look and see what it's all about. Well, right now we are walking along the ledges here. It's really beautiful. It's such a cool place. Everything is so green and mossy. Even though it's October, there's a lot of leaves on the ground, but they're not really changing on the trees. But it's just really cool, really quiet.
So we're standing here in the edges and ledges, which have edges. Very, very cool. I would have to guess these are 70 or 80 feet high. So they have a legitimate like drop off to them. And it's a very narrow path through here. So cool green moss sitting on the rocks, and yeah, I like this area a lot.
That was the Ledges. In the beginning, we looked down into the Ledges shelter, and then we got to walk down and walk around inside. It's, I would say that's a must-do if you're coming to Cuyahoga Valley National Park. It's unique and it's peaceful. There were a lot of people around, lots of dogs on the trail, which is fun for Howie, but we just had a nice time. We didn't go too far. We just kind of popped down inside, took some video, some pictures, and just decided to head on up and keep rolling. There were lots of dogs on the trail, and also a lot of families. So I'd say it's a good trail for everyone. All members of the family can make the little hike down into the ledges. Our last stop today in the park is Beaver Marsh. And this is like what's listed as the prime spot for wildlife viewing. So hopefully we'll see some beavers and some otters in the river. Something cool about this area is that it used to be a salvage yard and they flooded it, and then the beavers took it over, and slowly then the otters came back and took the area over. This park just shows you that conservation is possible. This path that we're on right now, it actually runs through the entire park. So you can basically walk from one end to the other and hit up a lot of the spots along the way. So it'd be a very long walk. A lot of people are also biking on this trail too. So that would probably be the perfect option for heading up and down the park. We made it to Beaver Marsh. We saw blue heron. That is the only wildlife we have seen here in the park, which is pretty cool though. Keeping our eyes peeled for some beavers and some otters. Well, that concludes our day here in Cuyahoga Valley National Park. If you've been here, let us know your favorite spots in the comments below. Remember to like and subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next one.